So anyway, like we're at a convergence right now, and we're all coming together to learn about permaculture stuff and share ideas and you know, help each other out. And I realized that permaculture, the word, is kind of nebulous. I mean, the average person has no idea what the word means. When you introduce it, you know, how do you explain it? You might have a good spiel, but it's not visual, right? So I think there's something to be said for really telling the story of permaculture visually to as many people as you can. And little videos like that, I'm hoping, will help spread that so people can it'll soak in a little bit, you know? Yeah, so anyway, trying to make it fun. Should be a party. There's not a lot of dubstep in permaculture.
So once this is actually like fully developed and everything, how many people are you estimating?
That is a lovely question. How many people per acre can this farm support at full maturation and development? I don't know, but I would say over 200. It's a 145 acre farm. I think about stacked enterprises and all the opportunities that are there. I mean, could have a full-time herds person now. There could be 4 or 5 people doing that. Could all be living on site. Definitely could be an on-site dairy. Don't have the manpower to do that. There could be timber products on site, as far as tree harvest and carving and you know, coppicing, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's limitless. So that's the next question: is how do you build a community that actually works, that's actually functional? And consensus is not the answer.
No.
Anarchy is the answer, right? So how do you, and I'm running into a lot of issues, is how do you do something awesome with complete anarchy in a county that is the most highly regulated in your state, right? So how do you have a composting toilet and 5 crazy trailers and not get rolled on? It's really damn hard. I think the best answer is move to the driftless and keep your head down. Yeah, I think
those
that
capos and the driftless.
Yeah, I think keep your tribe strong and offer opportunities and yeah.
So you're surrounded by corn and soy, I presume? And
Pretty much. I've got a really cool neighbor, homesteader, CSA type on one corner of the farm, and then there's some timber on the north, and then the rest of it's just GMO as far as the eye can see.
Do you have buffer strips in around the perimeter of your
Yep,
property?
entire perimeter of the farm that borders any conventional field is a 30-foot wide pollinator planting. So it's, you know, black locust perimeter fence right on the property border, 30 foot of wildflowers and pollinators and that, you know, whatever you can do. Organic standards require you to have an offset, so anything that's harvested inside from that is legit for organic, but you want to have a buffer there. As far as tree buffers for herbicide drift go, it's tough because in my area, the first applications are before anything leaves out, period. So there's no natural barrier. 2,4-D will volatilize from 2 miles away. You can smell it every time something gets sprayed. So are you ever truly free? Probably not, until the EMP happens and we're all good. But I'm making do as best I can. One thing that's really funny is like, okay, you put all this pollinator habitat on the perimeter as closest to the neonicotinoid seed coatings floating off and all the herbicides. And it's just like, well, it's something. And we have internal plantings too, but bees travel 2 miles. You can't police them, tell them where to go, you know?
Is the requirement that it has to be a pollinator?
No, but I said if it's going to be waste area, it might as well be cool. You know,
I was trying to think.
another opportunity. We have probably 4 acres of flowers going off all year round. I don't have time to harvest them. We went to market once and sold like $150 in a day. You know, I need somebody there who can come cut flowers all summer and go harvest them and sell them. You know, it can support a lot as far as livelihoods per acre. Yeah.
I was wondering about irrigation and harvesting. Those are two things I didn't hear much about. Is there irrigation other than the rain?
Sure. At present, 0 irrigation. Just got a well in, basically last year. Didn't even have anything running off of it. Did get an EQIP contract, Environmental Quality Incentives Program, through NRCS to put in a livestock pipeline elsewhere on the farm, which could be presumably used for irrigation long term. Haven't got it in yet. Everything was just sink or swim, plan it out, high density. If it rains, it rains. If it doesn't, you all die.
What are the animals? Yeah.
We're hauling water, which is the shame. We've got a portable water tank where we'll fill them up and then drive it up to them. But in time, as infrastructure and time and money allows, it gets developed. Yep.
What about harvesting? You said you mentioned mechanized.
Yeah, so the vast majority of fruit crops beyond some berry crops are pre-yielding. They're just still growing. Berries are hand harvested right now. Do have some monocultural honeyberry plantings in place, which can be straddle harvested with a mechanical harvester, probably next year. And in my area, there's an aronia co-op. I think an aronia plant is great if you've got 4 of them, but as far as a marketable crop, I think it's ridiculous. I don't know if anyone agrees or disagrees with me. But a lot of people planted aronia in Iowa, like a lot. And the ones that got smart realized they had to get together with a cooperative to harvest them, because hand harvesting aronia that then sells for $1 a pound is a pretty hard sell. Especially competing with Poland, where they're mechanically harvesting everything. So they bought in a blueberry straddle harvester. So it's self-propelled, goes over the row, shakes all the berries off, they pick them up and get them in totes at the end. Aronia harvesting season is like now. Honeyberry harvesting season is June. Bush cherry harvesting after that. I think that the idea of having community-based assets that can be used over, spreading energy flows over the course of the season that has multiple purposes is a really good thing. So I've already talked to them. We'll be able to lease that machine for honeyberries when it comes to it. So be able to mechanically harvest it.
But are your honeyberries planted in rows that the machines can?
Yeah, some of them are. Most of most plants, as far as like a numbers basis, are very much in rows monoculturally. I do have a lot of them interplanted in these crazy curvilinear polycultures. Yep. Those will have to be hand harvested and/or really damn great pig food. But yeah, the other ones can be straddle harvested. Yeah.
You have a lot of diversity here. Do you know, top 5 things that you think is going to get you the most return on investment?
Yep, and that's definitely put some time into that. So I'm just going to talk real fast here. So when you run enterprise budgets, which is the way of looking at any crop and saying, okay, here's what it's going to cost to put it in, here's what expected cash flows output are. Most of them are prepared by academic, extension agents, right? And it's all monocultural. It's like, okay, 1 acre of chestnuts or 1 acre of apples. So to do this polyculture stuff, really the only thing you can do is run it 3 times, let's say, apples, plums, and chestnuts, and then divide by 3, and then make your labor costs a little bit higher, because you're going to have this incrementally higher labor cost to walk a little bit farther down the road to get the next tree. Let's say you have a pure stand of chestnuts planted to all the standards. It'll do about 4,000 pounds an acre in yield if it's irrigated and grafted good varieties, right? So 4,000 pounds of chestnuts at wholesale value of $3 a pound is about $12,000 an acre in gross proceeds, right? So at year 15, you're looking at $12,000 an acre in gross, right? Not counting labor costs, blah, blah, blah. Now, if it's dessert quality organic fruit, that'll do 20,000 pounds an acre at $3 or $4 a pound. You're talking $60,000 or $80,000 in gross receipts. And it's really easy to pick an apple tree. So apples and fruit, fresh fruit, will market way higher than most nut crops per acre. And there's a lot of buzz about chestnuts and hazelnuts in the world right now, but I maintain that fruit crops, if you're just trying to make money in permaculture, fruit crops will do way better. And then, like, I'm gluten-free. The cider industry, gluten-free anything is a growing trend, hugely, even if that's chestnut flour. So the idea of getting organic cider getting organic apples for cider production is really hard to get, and people pay through the nose for it right now. So being ahead of the curve as far as having cider varieties or heirloom varieties is a big thing. You have a follow-up question?
Yeah, I have another question. Do you have a limit on your sellable diversity for the farm?
Do I have a limit on my sellable diversity?
Yeah.
Explain.
Like you have a lot of diversity in terms of crops and berries and, fruits and stuff, but are you just going to try to keep getting more diverse, or what's your centerpiece?
I have a limit in management time to be able to spread myself amongst those things, yeah. And at present, I see myself as the person who is stupid enough and crazy enough to get it in the ground, and then letting others run with each enterprise as their own thing. Because there's no way I can do any of them. You can't do that many things well. So ideally, someone's running with livestock, paying an incremental rent fee for pasture, so on and so forth. But in 10 years, ideally, I see an on-farm cidery, marketing grass-based livestock at scale. Yeah, that's the thing.